Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. We are now officially into the summer season here on RVN in terms of all of our programs and stuff like that. We got summer fun and games coming up. Well, that'll be starting tomorrow night. So yeah, I just thought before all the fun and games get started, I thought I'd provide you with a summer update. And it's kind of going to go into the fall too as well. So yeah, basically just kind of like what the rest of the year is going to look like, pretty much, for in terms of programming here on RVN, because there are some pretty big changes coming in my life. So thought I'd get you all up to date on that, and if there's any questions or blah blah blah, when the time comes, then you could just revert back to this video. So so as you can see, we have our logo, the NBC Peacock in the background. However, and one important point, probably the biggest piece of news here, is that we're going to be rebranding. Yes, so a new era of RVN will begin on September 2nd. Yeah, we won't be using the NBC Peacock anymore. That my little my little comment, don't want to get sued. So yeah, that's exactly something we do not want to do. My mom always said that I would eventually get sued if you kept using it, so we're finally going to listen to her. Um, yeah, so clues about the new era slash rebrand. It'll remind you of one network during the late 90s and early 2000s. Around this time, this network hit it big with the number one show, and it actually made the network the number one in terms of ratings and stuff around this time. And it involves two colors. That might actually give it away. Well, all three of those clues you probably saw before I even got to them. So yeah, I think that'll give you a pretty big guess as to what our rebrand's going to be like. And the first official promo will air June 5th before Game 1 of the NBA Finals. So we'll be on the air at 8:30 Eastern Time that night, and it'll air at like 8:29, pretty much. And that's Eastern Time, by the way. So yeah, that's pretty much the biggest piece of news. So yeah, and the reason why I picked September 2nd as the date is because September 1st, it was the final X's game of well, at least the regular season, and that's when we kind of transfer into the fall lineup of programming. So that's why we're using that date. Um, Second piece of information is the 2025 NFL broadcast schedule we will have for you on RVN. We'll first start out, for the first time ever, we will be covering the Hall of Fame game between the Chargers and the Lions. And then we won't call another football game. Well, we will call football games in between, but not an NFL game, at least until opening night, when Philly raises another banner. Dallas will be in town, so a divisional rivalry on kickoff night. That's going to be great. And then the next night, on Friday night, we're going to do the YouTube game between the Chiefs and the Chargers, and then we'll do the rest of them. I think at least all of them on this list are all at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. So Detroit at Green Bay. We'll do America's Game of the Week pretty much every single week. Unless I don't have school the next day or I'm on break, pretty much. So yeah, as you can see in week 2, it'll be Philadelphia at Kansas City. And this is all guessing too, but in terms of, how the teams did the previous year and how, whoops, I just had a light go off. That's okay. Oh, I didn't expect it to be. I'm surprised that light just randomly shut off and then like no other lights are turned off. That's kind of weird. But anyway, this is just speculation. These are the games I think we will be broadcasting, but obviously with flex scheduling and stuff, and as you can see, I put ors because I think it could be either game, to be honest with you. So yeah, and then you see those little asterisks right next to weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's because that'll be around the time of the MLB postseason. So a couple of those games will get switched out for MLB postseason, and in years past, it's been one of those times it's been an afternoon game, and the other time it's been a prime time game. So, either way, be on the lookout there. Oh, see, it just turned back on again. Oh, I am going to turn it off because I thought I was going to be showing my face for this video, but I just decided last minute. Although this light is kind of hard to turn off. So, there we go. All right. So continuing on, week 9, of course, we'll have the AFC Championship rematch, as we basically have had every single year for as far back as, although it's mainly been divisional round. Well, it's kind of been a mixed bag of both. But anyway, it'll be Kansas City at Buffalo, and this will be the universal 4:25 p.m. Eastern game. So it's going to be shown everywhere in the country. So that'll be great. And then in week 10, we will have, as you can see, either the Rams in San Francisco or Detroit and Washington. San Francisco, hopefully they'll be a much better team this year. Although, if I had to guess, more than likely it will be Detroit at Washington. So, yeah, and then as you can see for week 11, I have Baltimore versus Cleveland or Kansas City versus Denver. It'll probably end up being Kansas City versus Denver just because of the area I will be in. So, yeah. And then week 12, another divisional matchup there. And then week 13, that's the week of Thanksgiving. So we'll cover the primetime game between Cincinnati and Baltimore. And then I'm hoping that we will be able to call the Black Friday game between the Bears and the Eagles. That one I'm not dead set on yet. But, yeah, hopefully we will be able to call that one. And then, of course, America's Game of the Week. That week, as far as I can tell, looking at the matchups, it'll probably end up being Buffalo at Pittsburgh. I think, what is it? Everything from week 6 on is flexible. So, yeah, that's also something to keep in mind, too, as well. Going on week 14, week 15. Like I said, it'll be either Green Bay versus Denver or Detroit versus the Rams. And this week, both CBS and Fox have the doubleheader like they do in week 1. So that'll be something to keep in mind, too. So yeah, and then week 16, this will be like the first Saturday games we see of the season. I'm if I had to guess, as you can see, I have 12-20 to be determined because I think that'll be, as far as I know, they're still keeping the college football playoff format, so that'll be round 1. And if that's the case, there won't be a game at all that day. It'll just be whatever that Saturday night game is. And we'll get to the college schedule here shortly, and then at that point, I'm pretty sure I'll be on break from college, so we'll have. And then I just gave away the big clue, the big part of this whole video. But yeah, for week 16, 17, and 18, it'll all be the Sunday night football games. And then, as you can see, those are the playoff schedules. Of course, both Saturday games, and we're only going to call the main game on Sunday. I have it as 4:25, but it won't start till about 4:40 Eastern time. So yeah, then those will be the dates and stuff for. Other than that, nothing really all that new. And then this is for college football this fall. Most games will start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. At least the first 2 in week 1 that I plan on broadcasting. Those will be at 7:30 Eastern time. And then the rest of them, I kind of wish the NFL scheduling was kind of like this, but I'm kind of also glad it's not at the same time. Where, you don't know what the time is, what network it'll be on, etc., for, 10 days before, until about 10 days beforehand. So, yeah, I just kind of find that unique in and of itself. And then that will be the rest of the schedule. Obviously, the Bulls, since ESPN has all of that under one, has the playoff games under the bowl. Obviously, we will cover around 1 game, and then, as you can see, we'll cover the Rose Bowl quarterfinal game, the semifinal at the Peach Bowl, and then the national championship game in Peach Bowl. And or well, in Miami, not at the Peach Bowl, but we will have more bowls added to the schedule. We'll maybe call one or two more along with those three we've got and the college football playoff. Because, like I said, I'll be on vacation at that point. So, yeah. And then, well, the fourth point of this video, the Musketeer schedule. It'll release sometime in mid June while we're calling the finals of the NBA and the NHL. Um, oh, I gotta. Yeah, here's the real kicker. I will be going off to college in the fall. Now, I'm only going about an hour and change away from here. So, um, obviously that'll be good. I'm hoping that we will still be able to cover most, if not all, the sporting events. Kind of the sporadic schedule you have been seeing since February. That'll probably continue on throughout, really all throughout my college journey. Obviously, you saw we have all of those dates out for NFL and college football. Whether those actually happen or not is up in the air, to be quite honest with you. Obviously the weekend games, obviously those are definitely higher possibilities, but in terms of covering sports and stuff during the weekdays, probably not. And plus I need to have a studio, kind of like my downstairs basement, for, because I don't really want to do that in my dorm room unless like my roommate and the next door neighbors are okay with it, but you know just, for their sake, once I get to college, I don't really want to get into that all. So those two college football games I have, well, really everything until mid January or mid September in terms of sports and stuff. That'll be taking place kind of, well, outside campus and, probably the basement of my uncle's house. Well, I probably shouldn't say that, but because it could be anywhere really. Um, anywhere that has internet and where they will allow me to broadcast games. Plus, I've also gotten some offers from the college I'm going to in terms of broadcasting stuff for them. So that'll also affect the broadcasting schedule too. Um, Sundays, I think, will be pretty chill about, or pretty good on in terms of like NFL. Like, I think the schedule we laid out for the NFL, um, that probably won't change too much. It'll just be where we film. In terms of college football on Saturdays, I'll probably be all around campus, probably at my college's own football game, and, doing some stuff in terms of broadcasting and stuff like that for the school. So that is a little up in the air. Although I am hoping, and I am still planning on going to all the Musketeers home games and broadcasting them. I still plan on that. Um, Although I'd say we will probably only do about half of those games, unfortunately. So yeah, don't get too bummed out about that. In fact, I haven't even renewed my season tickets yet because I'm not sure if, well, and it'll only be one seat. It won't be two seats. It'll just be one seat. So I think once the tickets officially open for the public, when the schedule is released and all that, that's when I'll kind of, obviously pick them out and so so what and so forth. But things like the New Year's Eve game and stuff like that, those tickets I'm gonna want to get pretty quickly. So yeah, I still plan on being there for all the big events like Pink in the Rink, the night before Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, Teddy Bear Toss, Veterans Day, Hometown Heroes Night, and of course, once we make the playoffs, all those playoff games as well. I still plan on making uh, all those big events, um, but like a regular Friday night and Saturday night game, that might be a little tougher. Um, because I obviously have to drive an hour or so away for that, which wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it's going to be coming back that I'm worried about. Although, like I said, it'll be a Friday or Saturday night, and probably my roommates and stuff, they'll probably be out partying by the time I get back, which would be at 10, 11 o'clock at night. So that might not be such a big deal. But say for example, if we have like a random Tuesday night game or something like that, that might be I think as long as I don't take like an 8 a.m. class, those dreaded A&M 8 a.m. classes, or my roommate, then I think we'll be pretty fine. We'll be good there. But like I said, the only way I will probably be doing anything this fall is if, my roommate approves and like most of my friends that I make on in my dorm are okay with that. I kind of when I was making this presentation last night to showcase for you all, I was thinking, you know, just kind of brainstorming ideas I could do for along with the opportunities that my school has given me. Because, I still want to be doing stuff here on my own, just because, you make your own schedule and stuff like that, which I absolutely love doing. Like, I like having a schedule, to be quite honest with you. Whether or not I actually do things at that certain time, unless it's like school or work, that's kind of, out of the picture. But, um, yeah, so I was kind of thinking I could do like a college game day type thing, like on the level of my dorm. I think that would be kind of cool if we could get like everybody there, have like an audience and stuff, and have like a couple of analysts, like how they do on ESPN. I think that would be kind of cool. It probably won't be a whole 3 hours, maybe an hour at the most, but I think it would be kind of cool to do that. Obviously, that's when I gain traction and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm kind of hoping that most of the stuff we do on here and we have done for the last few years, the last 9 years I've had this YouTube channel. Um, I am really afraid that all of it is just going to go to waste and I don't do like anything, which I know that's not going to happen, but kind of the sporadic appearances we've had on here so far, I think unless it's like a Saturday or Sunday, those will probably continue to happen, or like on a Friday night. Obviously, I will also want to hang out with my friends too that I make. That's obviously going to be something real key. So yeah, because I don't want to completely blindside them at all. So yeah, although yeah, so I'm kind of hoping that the people who I live with and, you know, who like our neighbors. I'm just hoping they will kind of like approve of this. And maybe I might get some analysts, you never know, because it's just me running this whole show. So, I wouldn't mind having a helper or two. Because, I just call the plays, I hardly do any color commentary. So, because that's not what I'm good at. I'm good at play by play. So that gets, unless I have the X's playing or the Musketeers playing, then there's a lot of dead air. So, and that doesn't work. So, I'm kind of hoping, we'll get that too, which will be definitely helpful. I'll just say that. So, yeah. And obviously, once I meet my roommates, obviously, I'll tell them about this, and, I'm sure they'll all be subscribed by then too, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think the future looks pretty bright around here because I'll just kind of go, I'll kind of talk about what I want to have happen for me over the next probably 15 years or so. So, what I want to do is I want to, in the end, eventually work on my own. Even though I'm going to college, getting a degree, what that's going to do is it's going to get me a job where my name is going to be put out there in the open, So, for example, I might work at, a television station or ESPN working like Division 2 or 3 college sports, whatever. Do that for maybe 5 to 10 years, have some money saved up, kind of grow my social media some more in terms of followers, start making money, stuff like that. And then I want to quit doing that and then just do games on my own accord. And eventually I want to have like my own plane and so I can travel from city to city to city to city to city because what I want to do, and I've mentioned this before, I want to have a talk show Monday through Friday, of like the tabloid talk shows you saw in the '90s. Like that would be 1 hour. The other hour will just be like a fun variety type hour with like games and interviews and at or comedy acts like that, and then the other 2 hours dedicated to sports. So I want to do that Monday through Friday, and then those Friday nights through Sunday afternoons, I want to be broadcasting sports. So I'll be working pretty much every single day at that. Well, at least during football. I think once we get to like once we get to like February or so, unless the Muskies are playing, then I'll probably have Sundays off. So that'll be nice. But that's eventually what I want to. And I also want to call my high school's football, basketball, volleyball, and maybe even soccer games too. So um, that'll be mixed in. And yeah, along with the Muskies, the Bandits, and the X's too. So like what we're doing now in terms of like multicasting, showing like 3 games at the same time, I want to do that, but I want to have like a much bigger audience for that. Couple 100,000, maybe even millions, depending on what the event is. Because there's this YouTuber I watch. Her name's Clancy Burke. She was a former TV news reporter in Cincinnati, and she was a reporter for 5 years, and then she quit, pretty much to do social media full time because I think she said she had been making more money from social media than her actual news job. So, obviously that was an easy choice. Plus, she was the morning reporter, so she was waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning when most of us are all asleep. So that obviously wasn't going to be, or that's obviously not ideal. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to be my own, or if I do have like a downfall or I say something that gets me canceled, I want to be responsible for that, not the people I work for. So yeah, that's pretty much. I want to run my own circus. There, I said it. So yeah, that'll be the eventual dream for me. So yeah, I know this was only supposed to be like a rest of the year kind of update, but I made it, the next 10 or 15 years. I'm so sorry. Because a lot could change, and a lot has changed in the first 18 years of my life, that's for sure. Um, I mean, I can just go down the line, but we'll have to save that for another day. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you, I think, on Thursday night. I think we're having some kind of sporting event. NBA Eastern Conference Finals, I think. Yeah, I think. Something like that. See you then.